Yo, what up guys, iReapism here, and welcome back to another video. This is episode 26 of RaZe Dev, and I actually have a lot to show you guys and introduce to you guys. So the topic for today's episode is going to be merely about game theory, and this is by Poodle, EyeOfThePoodle, a link in the description to him. And essentially, he really has made a strong point for MOBAs in general, not even in RaZe, but also in RaZe. And it's so much information that I want to include it in this episode. And unfortunately, his way of saying it, so his audio essentially wasn't recorded, so I have to kind of make up for that as a post commentary on some slides and stuff. But I'll get you the gist of it. But hopefully next time if I ever do this. Oh man, I just sneezed. So hopefully if I do this next time, I have it all recorded and nothing will be gone. So yeah, I need to introduce you the first few episodes before we get into game theory. So first of all, this is the inventory for RaZe. This is an example of the Reaper inventory. So exposed, it's level 1. Eternal Scythe, Death Fog, Divine Execution, Death Whisper. The levels will be exactly like how it is with exposed. And when you hover over them, it will have the description of all of that, the progressive, non-progressive description, all that stuff. Example, the example book of how you level up. So this is how you level up. You right click the book and press the plus sign. It'll close the book and you open it again to level up multiple, like that. It's not a functional book, it's just a representation. And then here's how to RaZe book. Everyone will get this. Basically it tells you how to RaZe. How do you play this game? What is really important? And yeah, it's very important to have that in RaZe because this map is gonna be complicated at the first, because people aren't going to come into this map and see MOBA PvP and actually use bows and swords. It's quite a bit different. So yeah, also
be careful. That's quite alright. You're killing it. I hate my kind.
I added the Reaper sounds into the RaZe resource pack, which I'll show you right now. So here it is, RaZe resource pack. RaZe resources must be topmost selected RP. So what this means is if I have multiple resource packs, under selected resource packs, this has to be the topmost. Because what the game is going to do is if I override any textures, or let's say because for the Reaper class, I'm going to need to edit the leather boots model and the button model and make them invisible, because the Reaper is at a detriment there. He's not actually invisible. So if you had other resource packs above mine that edited these models, mine wouldn't override it because it's not on top. So RaZe resource pack, if you're playing RaZe, has to be on top. The sounds will play regardless because these are added sounds, so they won't have any effect whether it's topmost or bottommost. But the fact that I need to edit some models now for RaZe is what needs to be done. Oh man,
you're killing it.
But that's some of the sounds you probably heard already. It's in the game now.
You're killing it.
So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, let's go back here. So this is essentially RaZe inventory. The passive, again, it's like a skull. If your passive is being used, it'll like enchant, so it'll look like it's the nether star right now. It'll enchant itself, all that kind of cool indications. So next episode we're gonna be working on that book and show you how that works. Also there's quite a bit to show you here. The camps, how they work is pretty interesting now. I actually modified the zombie. Now this is the first camp, and he's actually he actually has 30 hearts. I was asking around to see how you do health in these maps. Basically do not use health like this or heal. I think it's like this. don't use that either. The new way to do it is with attributes. So use attributes for your hearts. Yeah, right here. It's this one. Attributes name dot generic dot max health base 30. So that's 15 hearts, I believe. Well, that's 30 hearts. Yeah. So just remember that. So actually that might be 15 hearts, but I highly doubt it because this is 7 damage. Anyways, yeah, that's basically it. There's a few more things I want to show you. The next few episodes will also include the health system and armor system, which is the leather boots, which is why I need to remodel it. Now the reason it's leather boots is because I want the most minimal amount of protection that this gives, because the wooden button gives absolutely nothing to you, so that's fine. But the leather boots does give you protection, so technically speaking everyone has protections in the early game. But I think it's such a low protection it actually doesn't even work, to be honest with you. Like, it's a protection, but I don't think it even like stops any hits because they override, because it's such a small amount. I could be wrong, but if anything it's a very small chance it'll like stop half a heart maybe, which is highly unlikely because it's just leather boots. So yeah, this will contain your health system and the armor system at the same time, so it's gonna be quite difficult to do on one piece of armor. We might have to split it to pants as well, so that's gonna be annoying, to be honest with you. That's gonna be even more protections on protections. But yeah, hopefully we can squeeze it together somehow. That's gonna require a lot of command blocks though. But the thing is that when we do have a lot of command blocks, when you respawn, this item is active. Because we don't have to put on a 10 Hz clock like the movement speed, because the movement speed is actually calculating. The armor system isn't calculating in the slightest. It's when you level up, perhaps, but usually when you respawn is when you get all this stuff. And when you level up, of course, so whenever someone levels up, it'll just trigger the system. It's not going to be that laggy, I don't think, so we'll see. So yeah, I'm gonna head to the you know, post commentary where I'm gonna explain to you game theory and RaZe and how important it is to actually consider these elements in a MOBA map like RaZe. Yo, what up guys? So welcome back. This is basically what Poodle was saying. I'm gonna kind of wrap it up. Unfortunately, his audio wasn't recorded. I really want to include it because he basically said everything. I didn't have to. So let's take a look at it. Basically, Poodle made a graph here. So let's take a look at Poodle's first. He has a damage scale over time. So the x-axis is time, and damage is the y. So if we take a look at Nizerth, that's a completely linear kind of graph. The Reaper is an exponential. Then this is like, it just levels off almost. So let's take a look at, these are dramatic, these aren't actually in the game. He's just giving an example. The Reaper class is probably accurate, but everything else is not accurate in my opinion. But he obviously just wanted to show me a visual representation of linear, downward scaling, and upward scaling. That's all. That's his idea was. So great late game, okay early. So the Reaper is actually bad early, I would write here. Bad early, because he's all the way at the bottom. Then as you go up, he just completely skyrockets. Mid game and then late game just skyrockets. And then we look at Nizerth, he's just good whole time. See? And linear, so his scaling is linear, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And basically Reaper's upward scale 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So it jumps from 3 to 5, that's 2. And then 5 to 8 is 3. That's huge difference than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As he already does 5 at the 4th rank. And remember, it's harder to level up as time goes on. So just being one level higher is huge difference on the second, especially with this, especially with these upward scaling. Then one more level to 8, and that's 3 more than what he's capable of, which is huge. Again, what I'm saying, leveling up gets harder and harder. But I kind of prevent that by increasing experience dynamically as time goes on. But basically, Aerox, we just take a look. Again, he's not like this, but this is an example a Poodle made. Great early, so he just dominates early, and then he just levels off late game. So he becomes the worst because he has no late game potential. Now this is not the case, again, I told you. So this is an example of the downward scaling. So 1, 3, so it jumps. 1, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. Or a better example would be 1, 3, 4, 4.5, 5. So it just terrible. It just jumps and then it levels off. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And this would be 1, 4, 9, 13, 27, 100. That would be an example of a completely upward scaling person. Now we're going to take a look at my graph. I labeled it overall progression in terms of damage, mechanics, everything. This is what I came up with. Now this is actually not accurate either, even though I came up with it, because I didn't really take into consideration mechanics, because Aerox would be up there like the Reaper would be. So by overall progression, I mean all the abilities in the kit coming together to be used in a team fight or in a solo fight. In general, how does it give this player survivability, practicality in a fight, all that kind of stuff. That was my best. Again, it's not accurate. The Reaper's probably the accurate one, but disgusting early, best late. Okay early, great late, pretty good early, okay mid, decent late, and then amazing best early, bad late. So these are the classes. Basically, Poodle was saying these are the classes that are going to dominate early, get those first kills, but then as game goes on, be effective but not as effective as Reaper. And Reaper is undeniably going to be effective late game, is what Poodle was saying. But his early game, people can shut him down. So people like Aerox can shut him down early to prevent him from getting to that late game, which could win you games. Again, these kind of picks are... This is what an example of a niche pick is like, alright, I can wreck your face early game, but where is my late game presence to you? So yeah, again, Aerox can 100% fight the Reaper late game. It's just the way I designed these classes, it's really hard to put in perspective like this, because the mechanics are so huge. Because the Aerox can outrun the Reaper 100% of the time. So the Reaper cannot catch up to Aerox. So the Reaper has to figure out how to kill Aerox, because he really can't. Because Aerox has passively more movement speed, and if he gets on his mount, then forget about it. You can't, and nobody can kill Aerox on his mount. He's just too fast. So that's why this is not accurate representation. So I drew lines here for time. So 5 minutes, Reaper is the worst. 10 minutes, Reaper is still the worst. 15 minutes, Reaper is still the worst. 20 minutes, Reaper is the best. Reaper is the best, as you can see, right up there. Then 25, 30, obviously killing it, as we would say. So yeah. Now, another thing he said is ranged versus physical. So why do I design Reaper to have a terrible early and a great, amazing late game? That's because of his kit. So if we take a look at his kit right here, he has a lot of damage melee. So he's going to do a lot of damage to people in the early game. So late game he's going to do 8 plus 5, which is 13. So he potentially 13 hearts. Now this is going through passives and stuff, so he's probably going to do 8 damage, we'll say, maybe. Because passive protections do increase a lot in the late game. So he's gonna be effective, but you have to understand, even if he does 1 damage, this is a non-cooldown damage ability. So he's gonna be, every second he's able to do 13 hearts potentially. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Now the reason he does that is because of his passive. Why is his early game bad? Because his passive gives him complete invisibility when he's not within enemy radius. When he's in an enemy radius, he's completely visible, very vulnerable to damage because he has no protections really. He has passive movement speed as well to help him in the late game get around. So yeah, this is it. This is why Reaper is really bad early, but amazing late. It's really the passive and the damage, but mostly the passive, because you can't really do your damage as a class without being in range of the people to do it, right? So this is why Reaper is designed to scare people out of nowhere and just surprise damage and kill. He's that kind of class. So, you know, 16 to 8, it halves the threshold radius. So if he's out of 16 blocks of an enemy, he's invisible. If he's 9 blocks away from an enemy at max rank, which is 8, he's invisible. So you can just run into you and attack you. Now if you're silenced, this passive doesn't work, which is really interesting. So you can be 1,000 blocks away from people, and if I silence you for 5 seconds, your passive doesn't work for 5 seconds, and you're completely visible for that 5 seconds. This is the only passive that is countered by silence. So it's really interesting because there needs to be ways to balance it. So we take a look at Cropper again. He has a lot of potential damage. So at max rank, if 5 people are within 9 blocks of radius, he has a potential of raining 25 fireballs on a total of 5 players. So 5 for each player. So that's why the damage doesn't scale, because that's just stupid in the first place to do that much damage to people, and then his damage doesn't increase, but his kit, the amount of times he can do it, does increase. His cooldowns increase a lot. This is another point Poodle had, is increasing cooldowns is just bad, but in my opinion, if I'm doing something like in RaZe, where I'm completely just making the ability every time 2 times better, or 1 times better, then it's okay to increase the cooldown by 1 second. Because if you do miss your ability, I want you to be punished for it. I don't want you to be like, alright, it's still 10-second cooldown, I'll come back and I'll use it again on you. No, I want it to be like, alright, I want to use it in the right place, I want to conserve the ability, I don't want to spam it. Again, increasing the cooldown. So we take a look at here, 7 to 15, that's more than doubling the cooldown over the 5 levels. And this is because you're able to slow 3 people, potentially, for 35%. And the distance in which you can do this increases ridiculously, so you can catch up to anybody, basically. You know, with this lifetimes in seconds, that's a lot of range, guys. That's almost from the beginning of the tower, or the beginning of the castle to the end of the castle, I think is 6 seconds travel time. So that's quite a bit of distance right there. So definitely don't mess with that. Also, you can use it to people climbing up the tree on Maros, the top lane. When people are climbing up the tree, you can just use that as just a knock up to enemies to knock them off. So it doesn't even have to be for us though. So let's see. Divine Justice, again, this ultimate is great. Now let's just skip to let's actually go back to here. So as, again, Poodle's saying, you know, do this kind of stuff. Know where your class is in terms of damage and kit, and where they are in the early and late game. You have to know it when you design these classes. And this is an example of the Reaper. So damage and mobility is up there, because he's basically not hindered by his mobility, because you can't really see him to do anything. So damage is up there. Control, he's a lot of control with his passive to control players in certain spots. And his ultimate stuns, and it teleports to people, so his control is pretty good. His defense is lower than it actually shows. His healing is up there because when you get a kill as a Reaper, you get regeneration for it, which is lifesteal. And mobility is up there. Again, I was just talking to you about that. So I need to know where my players are in this graph, or my classes, and that's basically it. So that is essentially the conversation we had. It was an amazing talk about, you know, how do we design these classes to be effective and ineffective because of their kit. And honestly, it all comes down to the kit, which is what Poodle was saying, is that even though Reaper's going to have an amazing kit, if people can silence him, he's going to be countered. So the idea of checks and balances is really coming to play. Like, he's going to do so much damage late game that there needs to be some way to counter it. And that's with the silence. You can stop his passive, have more time to react because you know where he is. Now if he rushes you, which he should do if he's silenced, just rush you, because walking away is giving people more time to see where you are and react on you. But by just targeting someone immediately when you're silenced is a good idea as a Reaper. But yeah, as you can see, you know, mechanically Aerox is probably the best class, because if you take a look at that movement speed, it's just ridiculous. We take a look at you know, his ultimate as well. It's a 50% slow, single target slow. And once you kill someone in this lifetime slop, it's gonna slow someone else. Give movement speed to all allies in the radius. It's crazy. This ability. So mechanically, you know, as you can see, his damage 1.52, 3.55, 6.5. It's really bad. Like it's not good at all for what he does. So yeah, mount 30, 70, 130, 220, 350. It's crazy. So yeah, guys, that is about it. Thanks for hearing me out, and I'll see you back in Minecraft. Alright guys, I'm back, and that was quite a bit of talking, right? So it took a while to record that because I don't know how long I want to spend on those kind of things, but that's about it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. And let me know what you guys think about that. I really do want feedback on what I just said, because this is kind of, you know, a lot of you guys are really interested in RaZe. A lot of people tell me they watch my videos and I have no idea that they do. And they tell me, like, you know, you did really good in that episode, or you didn't do that well, and all this kind of stuff. And I want to know, like, what do you guys think about this kind of idea of, you know, RaZe I have going on, like with scaling and all that. So do you like the increasing cooldowns and the way I've balanced it, or do you think it's bad? Do you think that you know, the Reaper is overpowered? Do you think, well, obviously don't actually answer that because we don't know until the game starts. He can be the absolute most trash person depending on how you play him. So we have to do beta tests for that, but until then, what do you guys think really about, you know, the classes? Like, why did I design them that way? Why is the Reaper, like, his passive countered? What do you think I did that? All that kind of stuff. Just leave it in the comments. That'd be really amazing. I want to just hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So yeah, also the Reaper class is here, done. The passive at least is done. That's it. And then the camps appearing and disappearing after a radius is right there. We worked on. And yeah, the armor system is probably going to be the next few episodes. Or the, you know, book over here, which I don't think I showcased, but yeah, I think I did. This stuff, yeah, I showcased this. But yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And yeah, let me know exactly what you think of that. It's going to be interesting to see. So, take care, guys, and peace out.